Hey, what's up everybody? I'm doing this video for Donmon and for anybody else who might find these tips useful. But I had gotten a comment from him on one of my videos asking if I would give him some advice on how to start a YouTube channel and start making vids. And he wants to do whiskey videos. So this is going to be just like some of the most basic things just of getting started. It is a lot for just explaining in a comment though. There are a lot of little facets that I'm going to go over. Nothing too complicated. Hopefully I'm going to try to keep it fairly basic for the non-technical people out there, because obviously me, I'm a nerd with computer stuff, but just going to keep it to the stuff that's fairly simple to understand and just the fundamentals that you need to get started. So for making videos, the very first thing that you want to figure out is what equipment are you going to use for your videos. Because, you know, especially for whiskey videos, you don't really need anything super amazing. The biggest thing is going to be focusing on sound and framing of the video. So, I mean, you can use anything, obviously. If you have a phone is an option, always. You can just use the cameras on your phone. The biggest thing, though, with the phone is that first you have to make sure that the sound is going to be decent, that it picks you up. The main thing with sound is you just don't want it to be too quiet or too muffled, because then it's really difficult to watch the video on a phone or anything like that where you can't crank the volume up real loud. Like here, my volume is pretty loud on this thing. It's not the clearest sound, it's just my webcam's mic, but at least it's loud enough. You definitely want to make sure that it's loud, and then but not blown out, of course. And then with a phone, the trick is you have to be able to set it up in a way to where it's looking straight at you, or at least at an angle like this, instead of having it like propped up on something where it's looking up at you, like looking up your nostrils. You don't want that. It makes it a pain to show anything, and it just looks awkward. So if you have a phone and you can set it up in a manner that it is looking at you straight on and the sound is good, that's a really good option. Of course, it will drain your battery life. You have to have the storage on your phone to film the videos, but that is an option, and it's obviously probably everybody has a phone, so that should be accessible. If not, a lot of this will too depend if you're using a Windows computer or a Mac. Macs have pretty good built-in webcams and built-in microphones, and they have good software on the computer already for recording videos, editing them. Windows machines, if you have a laptop, they'll have a webcam and mic. Quality-wise, unless you have something that's higher end, the quality can be pretty poor on Windows built-in webcams on those machines. You can play with it and try it. You know, you don't have to start out with anything perfect. You can just kind of do some tests and see what it looks like, what it sounds like. Again, with a laptop, try to get it at a flat angle to where it's looking straight at you instead of up, or hopefully not extremely far down, although that's a little better if you have to do it like that. It's not as bad. But if you don't have any of that, if you don't want to film on your phone or you can't set it up, you don't have a built-in, you can always buy a webcam for a computer. Of course, you have to have a computer. If you don't, obviously you're constrained to a phone, which I will get into later for some other stuff, if that's the case. But like here, I'm using a webcam. I use a webcam for almost all of my videos. And in terms of what to get, it is going to set you back a bit. I would probably recommend Logitech webcams. Microsoft makes webcams as well. That's what I'm using, is an old Microsoft LifeCam Cinema. It's a 720p webcam from way back in the day. I've had it for a long time, and I'm not super thrilled with it, so honestly, if I were to buy one, it would be a Logitech. You can get used webcams on places like eBay. That's up to you. If you're going to get used, the model that I always recommend is C920. That's a really good webcam. But they have these newer models like the Brio models. Microsoft, obviously, like I say. I can leave links in the description for these things if you're interested. But something like that would be really good and straightforward. Of course, if you have a real camera, that is a good option as well. You just obviously have to transfer the video to your computer with an SD card or with a cable. But that's another option too. But just focus, like I say, focus on getting good sound and at least decent video quality. Like my webcam, obviously it blows this out so bad that it fluctuates so much try hopefully to get a camera that can avoid having those extreme fluctuations in brightness and focus. But that's just for making the videos. In terms of editing videos, you know, that's kind of a personal thing that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. With a whiskey video, if you can get away with it, my personal recommendation, don't edit the videos. Just do it in one take. Just do one straight video and then just upload that, because that will make it a lot easier not having to edit, because editing is by far the most intensive part of making a video. And learning how to edit videos also takes the longest. I almost never edit videos unless it's something that I have to edit. If I'm doing a video like this where I'm just sitting here, I never ever edit them. If you have to edit, you know, if you, like I say, if you have a Mac, there's a program that comes with the Mac called iMovie that's really good. You can also record videos from a webcam straight with that program. A lot of editing software will let you record right in the program. And so iMovie is a really good one. If you're on a Windows computer, there are options. Like, I use a really old version of Windows Movie Maker from like 2012. I could leave a link to that as well. It's fairly simple. It's kind of out of date, but it's good enough, because basically, if you are going to edit, probably all you're going to do is like stitch clips together, maybe do some adjustment to the volume levels, cut the end off of a video or the beginning off of a video. Just really basic stuff like that, and just about any editor can do that. There's options like Clipchamp is a more modern one that Microsoft offers. CapCut is something that you can get. That's available online, or you can install it. That's available for phones as well. That's another good option if you want to do some quick editing on a phone. Well, even I have an iPhone. If you have an Android, it's available on that too. I don't know what tools are built into Android, but at least on the iPhone, right in the Photos app, you can at least trim the beginning and the end of the video off. If you just want to do that as well. And yeah, like I say, just if you can avoid editing, honestly, for something like that. You know, some people have intros and outros on their videos. I've never really gotten into that too much. For some people, they like having that. It kind of adds some production value, but to me, I like to just get straight into it, just focus on the content of the video, keep the runtime of the video down to just the stuff that you're focused on. And but that's me. You know, if you start out without editing, perfectly fine. You really don't have to. For something like this, it's basic enough that, yeah, you just don't even need to bother with that. But biggest thing, like I say, is just filming the videos, having a way to. And then using YouTube for uploading videos is really not that difficult. It has changed a lot. I can't say I'm even the best at using the current iteration of YouTube, because I've been through so many of them in the last 15 years. But I mean, you basically go to the YouTube homepage, there's an upload button, you know, you put your videos on there, you select them from your computer, and or on your phone, there's the little plus icon in the middle of the app, and you select videos and add your title and your description. And thumbnails, you know, that's where you get into stuff that if you care. If you don't care, then great. I never really have, but you can add custom thumbnails to your videos. You can have tags, which tags don't make a big difference. I wouldn't even bother with adding tags to videos. Just focus on having a decent title, which a lot of people, you know, they'll try to make sensationalist titles and just fit as many buzzwords in there as possible. If you're doing whiskey reviews, personally, I would just keep it nice and short. Just keep it the name of the whiskey that you're reviewing. Maybe you could add whiskey reviews, maybe a number in terms of how many reviews you've done if you want. Or just keep it straight, the name of the whiskey. Or just name of whiskey, review. Something real basic like that will be good enough. I try to keep my video titles short enough that they don't get cut off, because if they go long enough, you get the ellipses and you can only see the full video title when you open it. I try to avoid that. Again, descriptions, you can put as much as you want, basically. I usually keep them short, but the main draw is always the title and the thumbnail. With a whiskey review, though, you know, basically if somebody is trying to find a review of that whiskey, they'll find it by your title. If you want, you can have it take a picture of yourself holding up the bottle or the box or whatever and use that as a thumbnail. Or you can go into your video and take a screenshot of a particular frame in the video that you think would work as a thumbnail. It's up to you. Or just automatically generated thumbnails are provided for you. Which generally that's good enough for the most part for those things. Because again, that's why, like, if you were to go watch, there's so many things in this that probably just don't matter if you're just doing something like whiskey reviews, because, you know, it's a very straightforward thing. You know, you're not doing where you're talking about external events or having to show other stuff on your video. It's just, this is the whiskey, these are my impressions. So that's the lucky part of this, is really you don't have to overcomplicate it, and you shouldn't, because it will drive you crazy if you try to just dive into like everything all at once. But yeah, getting set up on YouTube isn't too bad. Making money from it, that's really not something that's super feasible, especially not in the whiskey community, because it's kind of niche. If you're going to make money online doing it, it won't be from YouTube, I'll just say that. You'll have like a Patreon or something where people can donate to you, because the money that you make off of Google AdSense, if you can even meet the requirements, which you have to have like a couple thousand watch hours on your videos, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which I've never, I've never even reached that, so I've never gotten paid. But yeah, you're not going to get money from YouTube itself doing this. That's just not really a thing anymore. But you could, with time, you could start a Patreon or whatever, and people can donate. But of course, with Patreon, usually you have to provide rewards, incentives for people to donate, and that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't focus on that part. It's really not going to pan out into like a big earner. It's just not a thing. But yeah, I mean, like I say, there's not really a whole lot to it. It's just focus on good crisp audio as much as possible, decently clear video. Like if you're going to buy a webcam, you don't need a 4K webcam for this. 1080p is plenty for the resolution of the webcam. 720 is okay, but it's getting a little out of date. 1080p is basically just the standard, so, which phones should all shoot in 1080p. Most good cameras would shoot in 1080p. So yeah, and it's like I say, one of these things where you just got to kind of fumble with it a little bit to learn it. The YouTube Creator Studio is easy enough to use. You can schedule a video to go up later. It's all on that main page where you upload the videos. It'll have you go through some different steps, and the last one is set your video to public. You can click on that. There's an option for scheduling. It comes up with a calendar you can choose. So if you want to do like 4 tastings in one session and upload them over a span of like a week, you can just upload them all at once and have them go out staggered if you like. But yeah, so that's basically just about it. Is like I say, you just gotta have a good setup, have some way to facilitate either recording the video or getting it on your computer, or if you have a phone, then you don't have to worry about that part necessarily. Just upload it straight from your phone with the YouTube app. And then, yeah, just concise titles, stuff like that. It's not too bad. Obviously, if you're just starting out, if there's other little things that you have questions about, of course I can answer them. Maybe not with another full video, but I could maybe just link to some images or just show like what I do, because the software that I use for like recording the videos is OBS, but Open Broadcasting Software is what it's short for. But that's one to where it's not super user friendly, so I don't know if I'd recommend diving into something like this. It's just, I like stuff like this because it's free. Don't pay for software like that. I know like CapCut will ask you if you want to subscribe to it. Features a lock behind a subscription for like advanced editing. You don't need that stuff, so just don't pay for it. But yeah, so hopefully that was useful. Just some basic tips on getting started. And it will take some time. You know, people aren't going to immediately glom onto your videos. It's just over time people will notice, especially in the whiskey community. People will find your videos. They'll get shared. Obviously, if you want to tell people in the community that you've got a channel, you know, don't like spam people's channels saying, hey, check out my videos. But you can find ways over time to kind of work your way into the larger community and build a little community. Because, you know, the whiskey thing, I really, because I mean, I am of age, I have been for a while. I haven't really tried much in the way of whiskey or alcohol in general. It's just not actually something that interests me at this point in my life. But it was a neat community, certainly. So definitely let me know how it gets on. You know, if you get some videos up, I'll check them out, certainly. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say, though. Like I say, if there's any other questions that are basic enough, I can certainly answer them, or give you some pointers if you run into some issues with getting the videos up, or where do you go to do this thing on YouTube or whatever. I can help out with some of that stuff too. So hopefully this was useful, though. And for my subscribers, I don't know when the next vid will be. I might try to make one here after this one, just like an update type vid, but we'll see. Because it takes a long time. I usually have to do a few takes of those videos. In any event, I'll probably talk to you guys soon, so catch you guys later.